Welcome back to this Premium Explainer Briefing. We're diving into the latest Polymer Bazaar Market Intelligence Report for the fourth week of August 2026. Look, if you're managing procurement, tracking petrochemicals, or just trying to make sense of these wild supply chain shifts lately, you know exactly how volatile things are right now. So today, we're cutting through all the noise to give you exactly what you need to know about the polypropylene markets. Let's get right into it.
Okay, real quick, let's hit today's roadmap. We're looking at global polymer market dynamics, then regional pricing and trends, the Indian market pulse, exchange rate market impacts, and finally, we'll wrap up with a strategic procurement opinion.
All right, starting us off, Section 1, Global Polymer Market Dynamics.
So, stepping back and looking at the big picture, what is the overarching macro environment for petrochemicals right now? Across multiple continents, it basically boils down to this: tight supply meeting seasonal soft demand. What does that actually look like on the ground? Well, producers are dealing with some serious logistical headaches and rising production costs, but at the exact same time, buyers are kind of just sitting on the sidelines, being cautious, mostly because it's the typical off-season lull. It's a classic standoff, and honestly, it sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about today.
Moving on to Section 2, Regional Pricing and Trends.
To really understand how these global dynamics are playing out, we've got to look at the regions. And man, there is a stark contrast right now. U.S. prices actually dropped by $54, bringing them to $1,245 per metric ton. Turkey also dropped by $19 to $1,070, mostly due to logistical bottlenecks. But then you look at Europe, and they saw a €10 increase to €1,190, even with super dull seasonal demand. Why? It's that tight import supply keeping those European prices propped up. Meanwhile, China's spot prices are just sitting at 9,500 RMB. Costs are up, supply is tight, but buying just isn't taking off. If you're sourcing globally, seeing these totally different regional reactions to the exact same macro conditions is absolutely crucial for your strategy.
Bringing things closer to home, here's Section 3, the Indian market pulse. Let's look at the quickening rhythm of the domestic market here. Today, August 21st, 2026, Reliance Industries Limited selectively raised their PP prices, though they did roll over deemed exports. And get this, with September PP raffia import offers rising to roughly $1,270 per metric ton CIF Navasheva, the domestic market is definitely reacting. Traders are reporting some genuinely improved demand conditions out there. Domestic converters are getting smart about this. They're already actively stockpiling raw materials at the current ruling prices, bracing for what's coming.
And honestly, it makes total sense why they're stockpiling. The market is showing some severe supply constraints right now. Bazaar inputs are telling us that grades like random, PPCO, TQ film, and lamination are getting incredibly hard to find. The shortage has actually pushed open Bazaar quotes to carry pretty significant premiums, especially when you look at random polymers. When you start seeing these kinds of premiums popping up on open quotes, it's a massive, flashing warning sign of where the broader market is headed.
Let's add another layer to this. Section 4, Exchange Rate Market Impacts.
This is the financial lever that is heavily influencing all these local shortages. The big news is the Indian Customs Department's revision just today. The new import exchange rate is sitting at a remarkably weak 96.50 rupees per US dollar. That's an increase of 45 paise. The export rate also went up by 50 paise to 94.80. A weaker rupee makes your imports inherently more expensive, and that acts as a massive green light for domestic producers to consider jacking up their own ex-works prices. Basically, domestic buyers are getting squeezed right between expensive imports and rising local costs.
So what's the game plan? Section 5, Strategic Procurement Opinion. Pulling all this macro data, the local pricing, and the currency fluctuations together, it's like a classic domino effect. Step 1, the rupee remains incredibly weak at 96.50. Combine that with Step 2, real, physical shortages in domestic bazaars happening right alongside those rising Asian prices. You put those together and it practically guarantees Step 3, domestic producers are highly motivated right now to implement broad ex-works price hikes. The pressure cooker's just too intense for prices to stay flat.
Because of this perfect storm, the official intelligence recommendation from Polymer Bazaar doesn't pull any punches. They literally say, therefore, we recommend procuring at the current prices. It really doesn't get any more straightforward than that. The move right now is to lock in your raw materials at today's ruling prices before the broader market hikes catch up with you. Honestly, dragging your feet for even a couple of days could cost you big time, especially with the premiums we're already seeing out in the open bazaar.
Just a quick pro tip. To keep your procurement strategy razor sharp, you can actually query the Polymer Bazaar AI bot on WhatsApp at +1 93746 24365. They guarantee a 5-second reply, which is absolute gold when you're mid-negotiation and need instant data. You can also just grab the full PDF report directly from their website. Having that kind of real-time intel is exactly how you secure your edge when the market gets tight.
So as you look over your inventory requirements for the coming week, I want to leave you with this one thought. Are you positioned to procure your inventory at today's ruling prices? Or are you going to get caught paying massive premiums driven by a weak rupee and physical market shortages? Take a hard look and ask yourself if your procurement timing is truly optimized to protect your bottom line. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Stay focused, stay informed, and I'll catch you on the next one.